Again, with the number line, we start at the end at 24 because we know we're taking away. So the number has to be smaller. We're taking away from a positive number from a positive number. The number is going to be smaller. So I'm going to move. I know I have to take 16 away. So again, however you wish to note it, I like to keep track of what I'm taking away. I need to take 16. I know I'd like to take away 10 right away. Well, that'll leave me with 6, because 10 is easy to take away. So minus 10, that brings me to 14. Now when I look at these numbers, a friendly number to take away would be 4. So I take away 4 from here. So now I'm going to have 2 left when I take away my 4. So I'm at minus 4. So that's going to be 10. And the last thing I need to take away is those 2. Minus 2. So I'm at 8. So I check that I've taken away the right amount. 10 plus 4 plus 2 is 16. So I've taken away 16. I check my math again. I've taken away 10 from 24 is 14. Taking away another 4 is 10. Taking away 2 is 8. Now again, like I remind you that the notation really depends on the student, how they want to note it. Some people like to keep track of what they're doing here. Some people like to not bother writing the numbers here, but kind of doing like a cross-off method where they start with 16, they cross it off, they know at this point they have 6 left, they cross it off, at this point they know they have 2 left, and that gets them to 0. The notation doesn't really matter. The point of this method is that children are using their own bumps. So if somebody wasn't comfortable by going to 10s, they might have gone by 2s. If somebody from here, from 14, could take away 6 and get to 8 without needing this extra step, that's fine. If they needed 2 steps between from 10 to 8, again, that's okay. Now let's go to the next one. We're starting with 16. And usually we're working at 16. And we're going from the end of our number line. Here, let's move it all the way to the end of our number line. And we're taking away 24. Oop. Let's go. There's my number line again. Let's bring it back over here. There we go. There we go. All right. We're back in business here. So again, let's write down the question so we can see it. 16 minus 24. So we start at 16, and we know we need to take away 24. So right away, students will take away, whatever way you want to note it, I need to take away 24. So I'm going to start by taking away 10. Minus 10 gets me to 6. Now I'm going to take away this 6. I can do it in steps again. A 4 first because it's 14. And here I'm at 2. Now I have 2. So prior to giving students a question like this with a number line, you have to explain to them that they're allowed to go past 0. And this question would only be given to students when you've already talked about positive and negative numbers, but it's completely doable with a number line. So you've already assessed with students that we have positive and negative integers, that in a number line numbers go to the right in an increasing manner, to the left in a decreasing manner. So they would know that here, you have -2, -4, that kind of thing. They've already introduced this concept. So they don't have too much of a problem knowing that they have to get past the 0. One thing that I always would mention to students is always stop at the 0. Pause at the 0. It's easier to jump through the 0 by pausing at the 0. So I know I have 2 left. So I'm going to take away this 2. Take away my 2. That leaves me with 8 over here. And then students might be comfortable to say they're going to take away the full 8 and jump to -8. This is not to scale anymore, but get to -8 by taking away their 8. That's our answer. If they needed to break this down by taking away 4 first and then another 4, that's okay. From 0 to -8, usually they can do that in one jump. They might have needed to go -2, -4, -6, -8. Again, child-friendly numbers, that means they get to choose those intervals. But this method, Numberline, has seemed to work for both number 1 and 2. With number 2, they need a little, you've had to have a conversation about integers already. So this would be more of a grade 6, grade 7, whereas the number line above could have been easily at grade 3 or 2. So now we're moving into question number 3. There's our number line. Let's move it down a little bit. And I'm going to make this one slightly longer because I know we're working with bigger numbers on this one. So for number 3, our question was again, switching back to my pen here. Question again was 748 minus 54. Again, we put the 748 over here. And we know we have to take away 54. So child-friendly numbers, they can go in any way. I would look at the 748 and take away 40 right away. Minus 40. Bring this down to 14. Bring this to 708. Some students could take away the 50 right away, knowing that they would get to 698. Most would probably have to stop here. Some students might even have to go by intervals of 10 in between. Again, the beauty of this method is it's child-friendly. They choose their numbers, they choose their bumps. They can do as many or as little as they need to. So now we're at 14. I'm going to take away the 10. Minus 10. Bring this down to 4. That still needs to be taken away. And this to 798. Again, if this was a big jump for them, going from 708 to 798, I would have recommended to take away 8 if they weren't comfortable with that. If they are comfortable going to 698, the beauty again is that you choose those numbers. And now we're going to take away the 4. So we got to our answer, 694. Perfect. This method works. Cross off. Again, at the end, in lieu of saving time here, we're not going to go over everything, but you would want students to check their bumps, make sure that they add up to 54, 40, 10, and 4, 54. Check their math at the bottom. Excellent. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is -7 take away +4. So we start by putting in our number line. I don't know why it likes to go over there, but it just likes to be a little bit difficult. There's our number line. And we're starting with -7. So up. And all right, so I put my -7 down right here. -7. Now I am taking away 4 units. So I've got -7 and I'm taking away. Students are totally okay with this because this is their starting point and they know they're just taking away 4 bumps. So they'll just go and take away 4 bumps. Now, the only thing that we need to note here is taking away 4 bumps means they're going deeper into the negative. So they might want to go -8, -9, -10, -11, taking away our 4 bumps. Because what they'll often do, because we're starting with negatives, and again, this one, same with number 2, you've had to have a conversation about negatives and how you work on number lines, that if we're past the 0, if we're going to the left, we're moving into bigger negative numbers. But this is not too hard of a concept once you've seen their number line and played with it a bit. There's no magic in this. They get that I'm moving deeper on the number line, because if they went by 4 bumps, even though they're taking away the 4, some students might write this down as -3 because they're used to moving backwards and the numbers getting smaller. So this would be a common mistake. You don't want that. You need to make sure that you've educated this process, that as you're going down the number line in the negatives, it's getting larger. So I would say this method works. It does require more support, but still works. It's doable. There's no magic. Once you've explained it to the students, there's no magic that's required. They can visualize it, fathom it. So now we've got number 5 is -4, take away -7. And we'll throw in that number line, move it over, and away we go. Okay, so again, we're starting with our number line. We're putting down our -4, -4. Students are taking away, so they're going to be going left. That's what they're used to. But they're taking away a -7. And this is where it gets tricky, because taking away a -7 means the number is, in fact, going to get larger. So in fact, we're not moving. We're not moving on the number line this way, which is normal for taking away. We're expecting students to go this way on the number line by 7 units. This concept requires you to get the students' buy-in. There's a little bit of magic that's required here. I have to tell them, okay, I know every other time we've talked about negatives, we've moved left on the number line because we've taken units away. But now, because I'm taking away a negative, I need you to move to the right. It requires them to understand that a negative plus a negative actually equals a positive, and that this question could be written as -4 plus 7. So you would be moving to the right because it's an addition problem, not a subtraction problem. This requires magic, or a buy-in from the students that's not easily explainable by the teacher. They'll say, well, why is this the case? And of course, you could show them that, using a chart and showing them, well, if I had, -1 times -1, I guess you don't really need a chart, but you can, -1 times -1 equals 1. And -1 times -2 equals 2, and -1 times -3 equals 3. So, but they might say, why? Why is that the case? Why is a negative times a negative a 1? Other than the fact that you're showing it to them, other than the fact that you can show them on a calculator, it really requires them to trust you. So it's not a method that I would say works, because it requires magic or a buy-in by the students, a little bit of faith. It doesn't have an easily explicable manner. So based on that, I would say that this method gets a 4 on 5, which is pretty decent.